Hello everyone, and in today's video I'll be going over the average dev life in Japan. The last video I had was about Americans who want to flee to work in Japan as engineers, and this video here is something a little similar, but when you see the incomes in Japan as for the IT sector, you might think they're quite low. Converting yen to USD, it's pretty bad. So I will show in this video with the average income for an engineer, especially one who speaks English. I'll show you exactly what that person's life might look like, and there will be topics such as your income, your taxes, where to live in Tokyo, the rent you'll be paying for that, how much you'll be spending on food, about social life, what kind of social life might you have, and also the social life based on your income. That might change as well. And also an important topic for some other people is healthcare. How much would it cost to, let's say, see a dentist and get a filling? These types of topics I'll be talking in this video. So grab your favorite, cheapest one you've got. And no, I don't want to make this video glazing Japan. And no, I'm not trying to convert you to become a weeb. That's not the point of this video. All I'm trying to do is show you the life of an average engineer. And if you look at the top of the screen here, you can see 40k USD income, which is more or less based on the current exchange rate, which is pretty bad. It's probably going to get worse. I have no idea. I'm not an economist, but it's around 6 million yen, which I've been doing some research. It's around that much if you want to call it the median income for engineers in Japan. And I'm speaking of IT engineers, web developers, smartphone, back-end, front-end, and so forth. We're going to start off with the median income for an engineer in Tokyo. I think this is about right. I didn't want to go too high, I didn't want to go too low, so I just put it up around 6 million just to show you how far 6 million goes in Tokyo. And I think you shouldn't try to don't convert it to USD and think $40,000. I just did it just for the clickbait thumbnail. If you just compare it to USD, then you're never going to come, because the salaries just can't compete with the exchange rate. Just another interesting thing here, that's USD, but if you compare it to, let's say, Australia, New Zealand, it's probably not so different, not so bad in terms of the exchange rate. But we're going to go through this video and I'll give you some examples or some reasons why it's not just about how much you make. And that's something that some of the Americans or the North Americans said in my previous video. And of course, some people in my previous video also said how they just don't feel comfortable taking a large pay cut. And that's totally understandable. If you're making 250k USD, in New York or wherever, then you come back to Japan and you might be getting less than half of that. This part's a little boring, but we're going to go over the tax breakdown on a $6 million yen income. We'll go through them real quick. It doesn't really matter, so we'll just go through income tax, city tax, health insurance, pension, employment insurance, and that's basically it. And based on the 6 million yen, the simple calculation is that every month you get 500,000 yen, and then after taxes you get 380,000 yen. So for the rest of this video, we'll be working on the 380,000 yen. The reason I chose Tokyo and no other city is it just has everything. This is the most populated city in Japan. The city itself, 13 million people, according to some Wikipedia. And then what you also get is, next to Tokyo, you also have these prefectures here, which might sound like they're far away, but it might sound like it's far away, but with some of these places, you can get to Tokyo in under 30 minutes, depending on which station you go to. So there are many people who live in Chiba, Saitama, or Kanagawa and transit into Tokyo every day for work. But in this video, most of the rent, cost of living will be based in Tokyo. I didn't also add that in this video, I'm also calculating for one person, and that one person, we have rent and utilities. Let's say you can find decent rent around Tokyo for one person under 80,000 yen, and the utilities under 1,500 yen. Utilities, I would say water, power, gas. We'll throw in the internet. We are left with 285,000 yen. So What type of rents can we get? That's what I'll show you next. If you're coming from another country, chances are you would really want to live near where all the action is, and that's Shibuya. Everyone knows Shibuya, and today's rent we'll be looking at Shibuya area. So we're going to Google search this, Sumo Shibuya-ku Chintai, which just means rent, and we'll be looking at Sumo. We're going to get the most expensive rent first, or whatever's getting paid to be at the top of the page. We're going to go and make it from Hachiman, which is the 80,000 yen, and we'll just leave the other parameters, the other options off or out. When we search for that, it's pretty good, this website, and we also have to look for the cheapest, ascending. And the first one here, I'm not saying this is the prettiest, I'm not saying this is the prettiest, nicest place to live in. I'm just saying if you just want to get the cheapest thing and you can walk to Shibuya station in 9 minutes for 80,000 yen. I shouldn't say USD, but what is it, like 500 USD to live 90 minutes from one of the most hectic, craziest stations in the world. 14 minutes to Ebisu. Okay, so what I'm showing you now is not that you should live in this, but if you really want to live as cheap as possible in the middle of Tokyo, it is affordable. But I'm not saying it's going to be beautiful. So look at this room here. This is just one example of the cheapest place near Tokyo. If you just need a place, to sleep and eat, and you're going to go to work anywhere, you're going to go to the share office, you're going to be out partying and clubbing and all that stuff, all outside. 23 meters squared. It's a tiny place. It's one room. It's on the second floor. But look, this is all you need if you're just the dude, right? If you're a dude looking for the cheapest place right in the center of Tokyo, this is what you can get. We're looking at the location of the cheapest place I can find from 80,000 yen, well, the 500 USD or so. And look how close you are to the Shibuya station. You're within 10 minutes walk. That is amazing, right? That you can afford that. It's not the most beautiful place, I get it. But for under 80,000 yen a month, you can live in the center. Now, if you want more space, you just move away from the city. You can see that there are plenty of trains that go to the west of Tokyo. And for the same price in these areas, you can get something a lot better. And if you really don't care about being close to the city and you want to be out more into the countryside, but you want access to the city, you can also live out these parts. And they take about within 1.5 hours to Shibuya station. So once a week is not so bad for some people. And I know people who do that. A real simple example, this area called Ome. It's by the mountain areas, but you still have a train that goes directly to Shinjuku first. You can change train from Shinjuku to Shibuya. So we're going to go Omeshi, Shibuya, Eki. And there you have it. 1 hour and 20 minutes would get you from all the way out here, station, direct to Shinjuku. Then Shinjuku, you'll change to Shibuya. 1 hour and 20 minutes is not so bad. And you also remember, if you're working for a company, they're paying for your transportation. Now, if we look at what you can rent out in Omeshi, I'll be showing you the types of places you can rent in Omeshi, which is by mountains and hikings and lovely rivers. What we're looking at now is Omeshi rent. And the cheapest rent here is 20,000 yen, 21,000 yen. And if you see here, it's similar to that Shibuya place, where it's a tiny place, but it's a lot cheaper. That 20,000 yen, 21,000 yen. What's that? What, $100 or something? So, okay, we're not that cheap. We want something nice, near nature, but also so we can access Shibuya or Shinjuku by train within an hour and a half. And then they have a little nicer, not the largest, but still newly built apartment complexes. This is a nicer range, but here we go. We've got 80,000 Hachiman, 20 minutes from a station nearby there, not exactly the station I chose. And then you have a 2-bedroom apartment house, not a house, like a townhouse. And of course you'll probably have a car park. Not to say that you have to live all the way outside, all the way inside, but I'm just trying to show you that there's a range, and each area has its pros and cons, but they're pretty good at, you're going to have a great time in any one of them. In the countryside, you can go out and hike whenever you want. You can own a car that's cheap to buy. And if you live nearby Shibuya, well, you can go out and party and enjoy your time every weekend or every night after work. So now that explains rent and utilities. And also remember, in most cases, not all, but I think maybe nearly all, companies pay for your transportation to work. That's a big one. That's a big one for many people. But in Japan, it's normal. Okay, now for food, I have here, I call it the no-cook diet. So you never want to cook because things are quite cheap. You make quite a bit. So why not? So in the morning, let's say, I don't know anyone who has breakfast these days. So you get yourself a nice coffee and some type of a health bar, right? Is that what we do these days? Soy joys. Soy joy is Japan's soy bar. I'm not saying you're soy, but I like soy joys. So yeah, there you go. So that's let's say 1,000 yen. And I'm talking about Shibuya, Tokyo prices. Not 1,000 yen for the coffee, maybe 600 yen if you're in Shibuya. Kind of fancy pants place. Starbucks obviously a lot cheaper. Then maybe you'll buy a few health bars or a croissant or something, which can easily be under the 1,000 yen mark. Of course, you just not eat or buy some bread and toast up some butter and jam. But I'm going to do the no-cook diet. That's for breakfast. For lunch, okay, just at the office, everyone wants some Thai food. Around under 1,000 yen. Around at 1,000 yen. What's that USD? $5? I keep saying, or $6? I'm not saying use USD, but I'm just saying it's cheap and it's delicious. Most cases you can find decent lunch for around 1,000 yen. And then for dinner we have 2 options. I just threw out 2 options here. You have kokoichi curry or tenya, I think it's called. Tenya is a Japanese soba and some tempura. I think there's some rice in there, but that's also 920 yen, that 1,000 yen mark. So the 1,000 yen mark is great because you can calculate your daily spending. In this case, with the no-cook diet, we'll be spending around 3,000 yen a day for all the food we need. We don't really need anything else after that. Unless you play rugby or something, you might be a big boy, you wanna double up some of these meals. But for most of us engineers out here, we're not doing a lot of this moving around and exercising. So to make it simple, 3,000 yen a day, 7 days a week, 4 times a week, that becomes minus 84,000 yen. And I don't even know if I spend this much per month on, no, I think I do, I'm not sure. So we spend our 84,000 yen a month on our no-cook diet, and that leaves us with 201,000 yen. 201,000 yen. Next up is transportation, and I have nothing written here because if you do live somewhere like Shibuya or Meguro, Ebisu, or anywhere around there, you probably won't be spending so much every month on transportation, as you will be mostly working in those areas anyway. You can easily get a cheap bicycle and cycle anywhere around there. Even if you are a little outside of that area, your company will be paying for the transportation that every month to your office. So I kind of leave this empty. Of course, unless you go on a bender in another station, so you miss the train, you got to take the taxi. That's a different story. But if you take a taxi, it's still pretty cheap, a few thousand yen to most stations. Next is health, and this is quite simple. As I showed you at the start of the video, health insurance is also paid in this simulation. So you'll be paying only around 30%, I think, of the actual health bill. And finding a dentist or a doctor, in my experience, is pretty easy. There's plenty around. A dentist, I had a whole filling removed. Each time I went to see the doctor, it cost around 3,000 yen, about 20-30 bucks or so. It's not so expensive from my experience if you have health insurance. If you don't have health insurance. If you don't have health insurance, it might take you around 10 or 20,000 yen to get yourself fixed up. And I'm guessing a lot of the engineers who are coming here are most likely going to be under the age of 30, and I don't think there are many health complications there. I personally pay over 400 to 500,000 yen a year on health insurance, but I've never seen a doctor in 5 years or so. I can't really remember. So that's the downside, is that you have to pay health insurance, but of course it's cheap if you have to go. I think I've more or less finished or cleared the most important parts of one's life: rent, shelter, food, transportation, and health. Now after that is your little happiness time, what you can do for fun. And I'm not gonna tell you what you can do for fun. You know what you want to do for fun, but I would like to go over the cost of having fun in Tokyo. So this section could be called the dating and social life. We have here, when I was a young hungry lion, clubs, people use matching apps, bars. There's 2 bars where you go twice then. Akiba maid cafes. I don't know what you're into. The bars here I wanted to say was the girls bars. I don't know what you're into, right? I don't know what you're into. Maybe you don't do any of these and you stay home and you save your money. That's all up to you. But I'll just say the budget here, I'm talking about enjoying life here, is Niman per weekend. We're going to say Niman per weekend. So for Saturday you spend Ichiman and Sunday you spend another Ichiman. 10,000 yen, and that's basically your Saturday night. Clubs will cost you around 3,000 or 4,000. I don't know anymore. I'm not going out. Then each drink is going to be around 1,000 yen, and then I don't know how much you guys spend on this, and you go on dates of ladies, or you go dates of men. I don't know what you're doing there, but your average izakaya will set you back around 10,000 yen. Of course, you can choose the fancy pants places, so you can double up your Saturday to make it the 20,000, and on Sunday you're staying home. You're doing Netflix and chills. Every month I'm going to spend 80,000 yen on entertainment. 121,000 yen per month left after enjoying your dating social life. Now we have 121,000 yen left after spending our money, and as you can see, I'm not trying to be frugal in this simulation. I'm just enjoying life as normal. And of course, you probably have student loans, you probably have some type of debt as well. Everyone does these days, so I'm not adding in those. Tell me what you think about this lifestyle of 6 million yen. Do you think this is enough for you? If you're a single person, do you think this is an okay lifestyle in terms of cost performance? Just say you have a good job and you make that 6 million yen, and at the end of the month you have 121,000 yen. What do you think about this? Is this would you prefer? Okay, of course we want more. Of course everyone wants more. The question is, do you think this is reasonable? And for the average person in your city, what would it look like? Not this number exactly, but the cost of food, rent, the quality of life. Because I haven't even talked about safety or anything like that about Japan, right? I've only given you the numbers and what you can get from those numbers. But I do understand that if you're making 120,000 USD and then you come to Japan and they can only offer you 6 or 7 million yen income, it's a hard step down. You're stepping down there. I get it. It's tough. That's a tough thing to do. So anyway, let me know in your city, what is the average or median income for developers, and is it possible to live this type of lifestyle? I actually want to know. I'm not going to search and Google it because I want more clicks and views on this channel, of course, and engagement. So please let me know. I'd like to hear more, and I'll see you in the next one.